my room. I've got a huge closet. I have 2 bedrooms.
Yeah. We haven't seen him since his last trip.
Yeah.
That's right. I haven't seen him till my next.
My second bedroom is really bad. And it's okay. It's like people back. Hard. It's different. I have all those.
Oh, okay, yeah, oh, yeah. That's really good. Oh, yeah. It was middle league, yeah. No, wait, we're gonna you guys are going on the 28th. So you guys, oh, so you guys will be on the
I've actually never whatever I like is
Can you grab a seat so we can get started, please? Everybody.
Such good students up there.
Hey, Eric.
Yeah, you know.
Okay, you're live. Good to go.
We're live.
You're live. Good to go.
We all ready?
Yes.
Good morning. Anyone ever been to Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts?
Brownie.
You know what this means?
Did you sell the cookie?
What does this mean?
Awesome.
Well, in the 70s, yes.
Means there's 2 outs, bottom of the ninth. 2 outs, bottom of the ninth.
In Cubs, the leader holds her hands up like this until everybody's doing the same thing. That way you know you have everybody's attention. So try it. Let's see who's not raising their
We're
hand.
not that old.
See? Let's see. You're not that old. Raise your hand. Okay. This means you're not talking.
How do we go to the bathroom?
Thank you for being here. Busy time at Moore Realty. Very, very busy time on many, many levels. And is Chris back here? Thank you, Chris Kraft, up front for all the decorations. He's been putting all that stuff up. It's kind of fun. We are a pagan company. Celebrate pagan holidays. See, me and my buddy. So thank you, Chris. And before we get started, too, Nikki's stepson, Nikki Keller's stepson, is that time of year. So if you want to donate to a fundraiser, I'm going to just pass this around. Just feel free to support Nikki if you can. It'd be great if we had a few on there. So. People here for the first time were our guests. So John Banuski just joined us last week, right? Finally, from Suma Peak, or what was it? Was it Peak? Or?
Yeah, it was Peak.
Suma right before that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So welcome, John. John's been interviewing with us for 4 years now.
Wow.
Finally figured it out.
Sounds familiar.
Then I see, are you 2 guests?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Do you want to say hi or?
We know most everyone though.
Hi.
Pamela Sanchez from Avid Real Estate Executives, formerly Suma.
Oh, okay.
Never met Butch. From Suma.
What?
From Avid, formerly Suma.
Some of us have run out of business. Raise their fees.
Well, I used to be one of the owners at Suma. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, no.
Before I came here, I owned it with the other guy. So, anyway,
Shit show.
Both with me and-
it's changed a lot. Oh, yes, hi.
Hey, Linda Dayton.
Linda Dayton, nice to meet you,
From
Linda.
everywhere else.
Yeah. Kim Mitchell apparently knows Linda and is AJ here?
I know.
AJ was a new hire. I don't see AJ here, right?
I don't feel here.
So we've had several people this week.
Reserve this one for you.
Thank you, dear.
Patrick, you haven't been here in a long time. You want to say hi just really quick? Patrick Tolbert? There you go. I'll get Patrick Tolbert. Oh, come on, Patrick. Just,
My name is Patrick with Amerispec Inspection Services. Many of you I know and many of you I don't. I'm glad to be back. I'll be back every Tuesday.
oh, okay.
Home inspections, radon testing, sewers.
And they take really good care of our clients and our agents. So, yeah, they do a really good job. And at some point, we need to carve out a few minutes where you can just show us the tools that come along with it, because there's some really cool tools that.
And we'll be presenting with Kim Mitchell, which I think she'll be plugging on the 30th. Coming up.
30th.
Got kind of a cool class that spoke to Eric about to kind of tailor it more. So.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Your inspection outfit, that would be your Halloween outfit.
In my crawl space suit and mask.
Did I miss anyone that's new or visiting? I want to make sure I don't leave anyone out. Oh, okay. Kim, do you want to introduce yourself and hand around your thing before I go into anything else?
I don't even know what we're talking about today, but I know it's going to be very engaging and informative and everything. So you guys get a credit hour today. Yeah, here, I'll go ahead and start deciding having it go around. I'm Kim Mitchell, and I'm with Chicago Title. I've kind of been helping to support this wonderful agency office and all of you guys. I just love you. It's like a family, and I just love seeing that this group keeps growing
Boy,
and
life
growing.
must be rough.
What? No, but what I just noticed too is even when the company was smaller and we had a handful of agents, the culture has not changed one bit. I mean, we just keep getting more and more people, and you think, okay, this is going to be, you get more people, it's going to be impersonal, you're not going to get the support. It's so not true. Oh my goodness, everybody supports everybody. It's a great place to work and be with, and the leaders and everything are wonderful in their support. And I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me to also be part of this and seeing the company grow. And for all of you guys that do support me, I really, really appreciate it, because it allows me to continue to come in here and focus and do what I can for you guys. So, and if you haven't yet, I'll be calling you. One more thing is Breakthrough Broker. Who all knows about Breakthrough Broker? And it was long time ago, they had it. Well, it has totally changed. Okay, it's amazing now, amazing. So one of the things is I do have a list of people that wanted to, to have me sign you up. Go ahead, put it on the sign-in sheet again if you want me to. The problem is it still has everybody that's associated from the first Breakthrough Broker, and they're trying to fix it because there was one title company that just signed everybody up under them.
Cheaters.
So, and all you have to do is I just go to their customer service and CC you and say, hey, can you please switch this over to Chicago Title and to me. So, but there's so many amazing things on there now, all kinds of social media stuff, ideas for open houses, postcards, door hangers, blog information, newsletters. I mean, it's just crazy. It's really good. So I would have you guys check it out again, breakthroughbroker.com. And with that, I'll just
Thanks, Kim.
Yep, I'll go ahead.
And I don't mind plugging her a little bit.
Yeah.
We have not excluded any title company from coming here. We haven't. She just is willing. That's all it is. And it's just sort of morphed into where, are you out there protecting your turf or something?
Absolutely.
Just so you know, we've never excluded others, and some will come for a meeting and never see them again, and over the years, but Kim's just always been very consistent, much like Amerispec. There's nothing in it for us. They're just willing and do a good job, so we like to give back where we can, right?
Well, like I
That's
said,
what
this
we do
is
a job.
such a great culture. It really is. It's.
All right.
I have not seen this. And this is why you guys come to the meeting and get credit hours as well, because he's such an amazing teacher.
Yes, and today is a credit hour. Be sure and
Yes.
sign up the sign-in sheet for it. Anything else before I leap into my other things? Yes.
Okay, I have a Windermere agent who's
You have to really speak up, it's the full room, so.
Oh, okay. I have a Windermere agent who's asking me about more and just wants information, and about our low fees, and I shared with her that I know. And, her concern is because our fees are so low, that this brokerage isn't sustainable. Oh my gosh, that's not even worth discussing.
No.
No, but go ahead, finish your question.
Yeah, so, you know, how does more make money?
And how does one respond to those questions when you get it, right?
I mean, that's a.
So I'll tell you that, you know, we.
Because she's used to, you know, spending like
We don't
$25,000.
know that.
I would-
We don't want.
So just so you know, Denise and I, when we started this, almost 5 years ago, I cannot believe it, so it's clearly not sustainable. We did all the interviewing, all the paperwork, all the check, we did everything, right? From our little room up there where Nikki sits, that was worldwide headquarters for More Realty. We did everything. And the most common question we got from people is, where's the catch? Or, this can't work, right? So the responses were a couple different ways. How can you charge so little? I said, you're asking the wrong question.
Why do they charge so
Why are
much?
they charging so much?
Right, exactly.
That's the right question they should ask, right? And they kind of go, that's interesting. I said, yeah, so why are they charging so, why do you think a lot of these big brokerages are charging so much? Because they have massive overhead.
Franchise fees. Yeah.
They have offices they own. We don't own this space. You know that, right? We pay very little to be here. And so it's about being smart with our money. It's about being smart with our expenses. That's really all it is. And then smart with the tools too. I know that, you know, Eric's always out there grinding for something to add for free. And Melissa comes across stuff, Denise comes across, we all come across stuff, value adds we can do. And it's just about being smart with our money. I ran, here's kind of the pitch I'd give people. I was one of the owners, I was managing broker for 4 John L. Scott offices, and I was one of the owners at Summa. At John L. Scott, we were paying $850 per month per agent just to stay open. And guess how many agents we had? 100. Do the math. 85,000 per month. 25,000 of that was franchise fees to John L. Scott. They've changed that, so that's not the model now. And then we had probably another 25 in rent. So 50 grand was just for the privilege of existing. Then you had to add on over, you know, phone and people and all that stuff. So it's $85,000 per month, every month, right? When we first started, our overhead, we were at, and that worked out to be $850 per month per agent. And I would venture to say Windermere and the big shops are probably in that ballpark, right? They're hundreds of dollars per month. When we first started, we were like 85 cents per person to stay open, just because we were smarter with our money, right? We're not that way now. We have 10 people on payroll on regularly, which actually is a fun feeling, honestly. But we're still smart with our money, right? You all got the email about canceling the Smarter Agent phone app, right? That was just $350 per month we were spending for something no one was using except a few people. So it's just about, get rid of it. Do it for free. And Eric rose up the HomeSnap thing. Honestly, that's where the HomeSnap thing kind of came to our attention. Was Eric said, why don't you do that? It's free. And like, interesting. So I started looking into that. I was going to show a little about it. So anyway, the point is it's about being frugal and wise with your money. It always is in business. The three things that will kill you the most in business, and I don't know if I have them memorized still, but is rents, personnel, there's a third one, but rents and personnel expenses. Well, we don't do that. We literally make more money here at More Realty taking all the thing we take than I ever made at John L. Scott. We were upside down every month at John L. Scott at $85,000 per month, right? Or I ever had at Summa. We made way more money than we ever did there. And we continue to, every month for the since February, we break revenue records. It's kind of fun. And that kind of dovetails into just a watch for more comment. We have some things in the works behind the scenes. They're going to give you guys even more stuff, more opportunities, more ability to build your future, more. And we're working on it feverishly. We do have attorney bills over it because we got to make sure things are done correctly and all that. But at least we're past this critical mass that it's just revenue positive always. I will be honest, just for full disclosure, for the first 4 years and 8 months, I took no money out of the company. I put it all back in, or I just took nothing. And how common is that to find an owner willing to do that? It's pretty rare, right?
We love you.
That's not the case. I'm now able to, but I did that on purpose to make sure that we had the staff in place and the people in place, and I'll go sell some more homes, right? It wasn't like it was revenue negative. I mean, I had to go sell some homes. But as far as taking money to the company, I chose to just be the last one in that food chain. Okay, a couple more people have joined. That's Alex?
Yes.
Just want to say hi. Here's Alex. He's an agent, just joined us yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And then I see another face back there I don't recognize right behind. Maybe he's not leaving looking at us, so maybe I'll do that later. So we don't say these things to brag and boast, but what's the answer? Those are the answers, right? We had a vision, and Denise wasn't in a place where she could go sell homes and offsets, so she had some money coming in, and frankly, Nikki worked for like 5 months for free. She just said, and even Eric wasn't on a payroll for a couple years, right? I mean, it's just kind of this wonderful, culture and mix of people who sort of believe in a vision and kind of see what we're trying to accomplish, and then some luck, right? There's a little bit of luck. There's a lot of good fortune in it as well. But all that being said, is we're now at a place where that's just a ridiculous statement for someone to say it's not going to survive. We are thriving beyond we ever did at John L. Scott or the Emerald Silver Band.
What everybody's talking about, you guys.
Are they? We're okay. Flavor of the month kind of thing.
Yeah, in a good way.
That's it, in a good way.
Good deal.
They definitely know.
We have a lot of social media presence these days. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Okay, good. So, yes, Kim. Now, okay, keep it yourself in check, but yes.
No, I was just gonna say also, if you look at it, I also, when I came in and I believed in your culture and everything, and I worked basically for free for years as well.
Not getting deals and stuff,
Not getting business and everything like that, and, and just now supporting you more and more with all the education and everything like that, and I'm sure it also helps out, everybody here as well, so, I'm kind of in it too. I put both feet in. When I first opened the door and saw him, I'm like, wow.
Well, and look, when an owner of a company leaves another company, it kind of makes some waves, right?
Yeah.
And it did, but there were things I could not do at the other companies because there were other people who were not cooperative. I'll just put it that way. You couldn't well, this is going to work. Well, I don't want to do that. Like, okay, you can't do it. But when we come out on our own, we can do whatever we want, right? We can create the culture and the feeling and the vibe and the excitement and do whatever we want, and without restriction and limitation. So that's why, right? So we started with 2 people almost 5 years ago, and we crossed 330 yesterday.
This business model works in other states. There's offices like this with a flat fee in Vegas with like 2,000 units. So you could certainly say.
Well, there's a Realty One and a HomeSmart. There's similar type modeling. It's about volume, right? And we had to get to about 200 agents before you went, okay, this is actually going to work. There's going to be a little more patient. So you can't do this and expect to make money at under 100 agents. It doesn't work that way. There's several hands up. I'm sorry. I'll come back to you in a second. So yes. Am I answering your question, by the way?
Yes, you did.
Does that help? Does it help everybody to understand a little bit more? Okay.
I just wanted to say that I joined more about 5 months ago, and I actually get more help and support as far as marketing and classes here than the brokerage that I was with them before. And I was paying them, and I didn't get this kind of support, so I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. Melissa?
That's what I was.
You're going to say that too?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, here.
I don't talk very often.
I know.
Right.
If any of you ever come across questions you want to answer yourself, please call me. I'm more than happy to help you walk you through those. And if you don't feel comfortable, I will call them or talk to them. I am not pushy. I'm a follow-up person.
Yes, he is.
I'm not pushy.
In a nice way.
No, I'm kidding.
But I handle it properly. And everything that was said is kind of what I regurgitate to them. If we give more, if we have more classes, if we have more tools, they really don't believe it until they get here, but it is the truth. So I'm very upfront. If they want to come, they come. If they don't, they don't. That's the kind of way I approach it. Because I know eventually they're going to roll back here and eventually they're going to come. It takes 4 years. So, but seriously, if you have questions, you're running, some agents don't like to recruit, don't like to talk about it, I'm more than happy to field that question, or if you want help in answering it, I can do that. So-
Well, Eric's been around us even before he
Yeah.
started working for us and witnessed all the struggles we went through.
Yeah, and I.
He observed from afar.
I
You had-
know a lot of different companies, I always ask questions back from what other companies give, but I can tell you, we pay more than anybody, we do, and this is something really special, which is just not out there. And we do give them more than 90% of the companies out there. And if you look at our class schedule, we have 4 or 5 classes every week. Our classes during Tuesdays aren't rah-rah, cheer, maybe more money, who's the top agents. There's normally some nuts and bolts to the classes that people learn, and as you can see, everybody's still here. And it's just a real pitch to them, and it's just a matter of them and their timing whether they want to come. Okay, so you are in a very good place, and I can tell you, I know that matching up the other companies, this is the place to be. If I was a real agent, this is where I would be. So, that's it.
Thanks, Jared.
You're welcome.
Excuse me, I just wanted to add that if it was not because of him, not pushing, but encouraging.
He follows up.
Follow up.
He follows up.
Follow up.
I was not
Yeah.
here because.
Yeah.
Trust me,
you were not
if
there.
you're trying to push him off, try to get him off the phone and say, call me in a week, thinking he's not going to, that won't work.
Oh, no.
He will call in a week.
Yep, I will call you in a week.
So that's all, it's just good follow-up.
Yeah, it's all about timing.
But that's the answer to the question about kind of where we came from. I'll add this too, the first year and a half we were open, 7 agency complaints against me because of the modeling and stuff. All got tossed out, and had to fight through some lawsuits, and I mean, it was a labor of love. So remember what I said, we're getting paid, it's not a fight, right? So really paying for the privilege of fighting to create this because we sort of believed in it, right? And we wanted to do something that benefited the people. It's really about people, it always has been. Do you have
And
anything?
all those complaints, we went to Salem with our attorney and got them all cleared, so everything turned out good. They were all.
There's a lot of eye rolling from the agency going, oh gosh.
Didn't get 'em this time.
Yeah, so it just, anyway, so it's good to know we're on the radar, but it's also a little unnerving to know we're on the radar. All right. Anything else? Want to introduce Eric and Ryan? They're here from Cross Country really quick. Just they're down the hall, they'll enter in the building.
Nice to see you all. No CE from us today. Next week, Ryan is going to talk about first second program called
Down payment assistance.
Yep, where people can buy without money down, which we don't necessarily recommend, but that's some people's scenario, and we want to be we want to be able to give you guys some tools for that. And then we'll have the rest of the Tuesdays this month. We'll have CE, and we're here all the time. So please call us. We're happy to be roommates in this with you all.
Well, it's kind of, I had someone struggling with evaluation. I said, can you give me a quick AVM, which is like an appraisal-centric valuation, more of real world. Gave him the address, had it a few hours later. And I can go back to the client and say, look, AVM from a lender says this. It kind of, so there's a great resource for a lot of things with him, is my point.
Yeah, we have a couple of things going on now that we're doing with some of you already. We've got a program called HomeBot, where we, and Eric's aware of it, and he would be able to give you the realtor value of it. My 2 cents is I send it out to my database. It goes out monthly. It's really cool reports that people like. So to give you an idea, I don't usually do stuff like this. My database is about 500 people. When they go out monthly, I get more than 500 opens. So not everybody's opening it, but many people are opening it multiple times. So it's something of value. So with me, it's been huge in terms of the refi market, right? But the way I see it helping realtors, and I've just started engaging some of your all's clients on this. So if you want to partner on this, let me know. Your database goes in there. It's co-marketed between us. And it gives stuff like, if you sold your home, it looks like you have this much equity. So for move-up buyers, I think it can be a great tool for you all. So happy to share. We could even do a class on it at some point, but right now I could meet with you, Ryan, or I can meet with you. So
Perfect.
that's it.
Thank you.
And just one quick comment, Paul. When we first came here, you weren't that much on the radar, at least not mine. I wasn't really aware of who Moore was. When I came here, I thought it was going to be bare bones, right? That, gosh, if they keep all the money, surely there's not a lot of support. I've been blown away personally. Paul and Denise and Eric and Eric and everybody could just
It's Derek, Nikki, Melissa, Becca, you just go, this is a big list of people.
Try Jim.
I actually do know his name, although it's very similar to a better. I've been very impressed.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, on to stuff that's CE related stuff, okay? So just, I told you I'd touch quickly on HomeSnap. We are all, most of you, except for the new hires, were given a Smarter Agent phone app on your phone. You might as well get rid of it and just go do the HomeSnap. On the Smarter Agent phone app that says more homes on it will go away October 19th, which is this next week. Yes. And, hi Chelsea. And the way you install it, and there's reasons why you should, is you go into RMLS is one way, you go to Toolkit and HomeSnap. Right? It's that easy. Or you can go to homesnap.com and register as an agent. You are all given a pro agent account. And so you have not only the IDX, this is the website I get with my HomeSnap account along with the smartphone app. So you get both. And when I click on Pro, I can promote or I can advertise my listings. And I did this. I went and advertised one of my listings last week, the only listing I have. And I spent, I don't care about Instagram, so I spent $0 there. But this is what I spent on just promoting my listing that's been a little stagnant lately. And you can place an order and you get an extra $100 for free. They have specials going on all the time, and you can promote your listing. And if you're thinking that just sometimes putting a sign in the yard is enough marketing or RMLS is enough, sometimes you do a little bit more. I'm not telling you to go spend money. There's nothing in it for us. I'm just showing you what I did. And so when I did that, I then get emails and notification text messages over time. So here's my report since I started it. There's 3,000 views, 131 clicks on that property. And let's see, can I view it and see if I can go to view edit. So then it gives me a report about where they came from. And I had 2 leads register out of Facebook that registered and said, hey, I want to know more about the property. Now, whether they follow up with you or not, that's a different thing, but it's more activity on your home, more exposure. And it's on Waze, which I think is cool. And Waze is that navigation-centric app, if you've not heard of that. And apparently, I've never used Waze, when they're driving around and you get near your listing, it pops up. Oh, there's a listing. And you can tap on it and get more information. Do you see why this is so much more valuable than Smarter Agent? No offense, Smarter Agent, if you're watching, I don't think they are. And this is free. It's all free. We don't pay for it. You don't pay for it. It's all part of your RMLS membership. And you can search for homes in other MLSs. With Smarter Agent, we have to add MLSs by $50 per month to add each MLS. This one includes most of them.
Wait, how is it free if it says 99, 149?
That's just if I choose to buy advertising on a listing.
Ah.
The tool itself, to have the website and the app, that's free.
And you get the names of the people that click on
People
Facebook.
could still click on it. You can still do everything you kind of do on HomeSnap Plus. It can be a lead capture. But if you want to pay money, that's how they kind of make their money, is by people upgrading to promote their listings, which is what I did. And then you get the reports. So you get a daily report that says this many people clicked, whatever. So heads up, go do it if you want your smartphone app. If you haven't used a smartphone app, you really should start engaging with this one, because it's actually kind of a next level, another level. Anything else you want to add, because you use it more than I do?
No, we'll have additional classes, so I'm sure we'll get one on the calendar for later this month. They also have webinars, so great tools and training on it. It does have a lot of really cool things on it, so I encourage you to take a look at it. I know RMLS rolled it out last year, and a lot of people are kind of like, there's a lot of different stuff changing with it. And so it's just a really cool tool, and we just want to make sure everybody has it downloaded. So it's an app to download, but it has a great way to share it. I actually use it to share links instead of sharing Zillow or Redfin links with my clients, just because I don't want to promote these other services. So they have a really easy way to share a property.
Didn't you say with
Yes.
with HomeSnap, it comes directly to you, so if you share the Zillow link, it could go to the preferred agent on Zillow, but with HomeSnap, it actually comes to you.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
And it's in your toolkit.
In your toolkit in RMLS, right here, you can just go to it here if you want. HomeSnap, third-party links. Okay? I encourage you to do it. It requires you to load a photo to activate it, so just be prepared if you don't have a photo. I just had to go grab a random photo, that's why that one's on there. It's not.
That looks like a computer shot. Oh.
Well, I do have this. I was going to put this one on, but I thought public facing it wouldn't be appropriate.
Oh. Yeah.
This one?
With the long wig on.
That? I thought I was gonna do that. That's my avatar on Basecamp. Okay, so one more couple things. This is kind of a potpourri today, but we're going to get to something that Kim can call a CE here in just a second. I received something yesterday. I just wanted to show you because there's an opportunity to learn from it. I received this. Ooh, law firm, right? You always wonder, oh, great, what's this? It's a copy, and it's made out to a prior seller of ours, one of our agents, and I'm an attorney who represents Matthew and Cindy Lewis. They were the buyer. There was a problem with this, and in the sales agreement, you indicated this, attach a relevant section of the agreement. So they attached conveniently certain sections of the agreement. And this attorney is saying they have a legal claim against you for fraud and misrepresentation, not me, against those sellers, based upon having failed to disclose the sidewalk needing repair. The amount of the claim is cost repair is $1,274. Additionally, if we need to file a case and I represent Lewis, I will take claim for attorney fees under ORS 20.02 attached. Lewis will share a demand to pay them in the next 20 days to settle the claim. Okay, so what's wrong with this?
Well,
go ahead.
It's in small claims limits, so you can't use an attorney anyhow. So, I mean, it's a great letter, but there's no teeth behind it.
Exactly. 38.1. Perfect, Eric. You hit it right on the head. That's where I was going. 38.1 or 30, yeah. Right here. Any claims between buyer and seller that are within the jurisdiction of small claims court of the county in which the property is located shall be brought and decided there in lieu of mediation, arbitration, litigation, in any other forum. So here's what I said to them. The agent said, what do I tell my client? Say, you can reference them back to section 38.1 and tell the attorney to go away. I'm not going to respond to your email. I mean, this is all must be, and they can go to small claims. So that what that means is that client just wasted probably $800.
Yeah, the 12.
Of the 1,200. And they're not going to see it back.
That's funny.
Right? So I show you this not to do anything other than empower you with information, right? And empower you with understanding how the thing works. If it's, I have to verify this, but I heard the small claims limit raised to 15,000, but I can't be 100% sure. But at least 10,000 or under is small claims. Between buyer and seller must be resolved there. They can't go to arbitration, mediation, or litigation. Why would you litigate $1,200?
But what about the sidewalk?
What about it?
Who has to pay for it?
No, not relevant, really.
I'm just curious though, the lawyer's alleging that they were aware of it, that Peabody.
Yeah, and I didn't even go that far because it didn't really matter. It's like, why are you writing? So it's not even our matter. We're just got a copy of it. Like, okay, thanks for nothing.
It's too small.
Thanks for giving me material for my meeting. That's all he did. And so his clients just paid $800 to give us material for our meeting.
Awesome.
So when you talk and advise with clients, there is a sanity check everybody has to go through at some point, sometimes in a transaction. Is it worth it? Is it worth you go spend money on an attorney you are not going to see back for $1,200? I'm just letting you know, here's section 38.1. It turns out this agent, there's a little bit more to the story. This agent on the other side, who is a PB of a well-known firm, he was representing the buyer. He gave the buyers, our agent's, home address. And said, take this information over, drop it off with her.
Wow.
So she gets the ding dong, opens the door. Hi, we're the buyers of that home that you closed, and here's a package for the sellers. Is that seems like weird? So I said, you might want to call PMR and see if there's an ethics violation there.
Yeah.
Because that's a problem.
That's
in my opinion.
confidential.
It's confidential and it's not meant to be. Yeah. So there's a lot of layers to this transaction anyway. But so the empowerment, you have to just kind of understand how things work, so that you are the trusted advisor. You're supposed to be the calm one in a transaction. You know that, right? You shouldn't be the one getting spun up, right? And all of the twists. You are an information transferer, right? That's really what you are. Are you a salesperson through the process? I'm not selling them a house. It works for you, it doesn't. Is it my job to try and close them on buying that house? Not really, right? Could that carry with it some liability if I do? It could. Look, it works for you, it doesn't. If you want it, I'm helping through the process, right? Real estate is one of those great things where we have, there's so many things in the paperwork that really protect us. We're not experts in. we really are information pass. Why do you think it's only $1,000 to get your license? Right, it's not, right? So you should be the calm on this and not get spun up and hand out agent's names, but understand how this works so that when scenarios come up, you can guide your clients calmly. Well, yeah, I know you're upset about the sidewalk, but I just want to make you aware, section 38.1 says I must go to small claims. Don't waste your time on an attorney. You'll never see it again. Is that what the other agents should have said?
Yeah.
That's not what they're doing. They're all,
They didn't know.
go after them, sue them, sue them. Seriously, for $1,200? You had your hand up, Melissa?
Yeah,
You and I were talking on this last night.
Yeah. I always say, look at it in a transaction that they are the driver, you are the passenger there to guide and educate. And if you keep that mental stamina when you're working with your client, if they say, hey, what should I do? You need to give them the information and say, this is your decision. So I think a lot of agents, will lose that concept when it comes to a transaction. So.
It's actually a great place to be.
Yeah.
We get spun up because I want the commission check. That's the only time you should get spun up. I've invested how many hours and oh my gosh, here I go again. I literally had one guy who showed home for 4 years.
Oh, jeez.
And he was a pulmonologist in Los Angeles. And he was Bulgarian, so his accent was really kind of Dracula-ish. It was really kind of fun to call him, hey, Paul. It was all this, what is the soil topography? He's always, because he was wanting to buy vineyard stuff, and not to get distracted, he'd be like, hey, hang on, breathe harder. And he could that, okay, I said, Victor, are you doing an exam? Yeah? he's talking to me while he's doing an exam.
Oh,
and just kind of how scatterbrained, just 30 more seconds. He was talking he actually flew up here in time where, whatever, and talking, he had me over for dinner, and he was talking about his client that was really, his wife, was really having a hard time quitting smoking because her husband Brad wouldn't stop smoking, and he came up, it was Jen, and he kept going on. I'm like, hey, Victor, is this Brad Pitt? He goes, you know him? No, I don't. Is that Jennifer Aniston? How do you know these people? He just was clueless
that is
about.
hilarious.
But it was funny. He had all these famous people in and whatever. But anyway, so 4 years I showed him home. But and so where was I going with all that? I don't know. Just other but at some point, I was getting agitated because now I got to show another home to this guy. But either stick in with the job or get out of it. Right? Don't get spun up with it. Right? I got to stick with him and be okay with it, or we'll find something else to do. But he was entertaining. It was worth the value of that was a lot of fun. Anyway, moving on just really quickly.
Hey, Paul, on that last subject, it's kind of interesting because in that dispute resolution section, don't all parties have to sign off that that's the order of operations they're going to use?
When you sign an agreement,
Yeah,
it says right there,
that's what I thought.
38.1, that small, it's all part of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't rise, the courts do not want to be clogged with $1,200.
Right.
That's why there is a small claims. I've gone to small claims 3 or 4 times with people and clients and whatever the years, and you walk in, there's like 60 people sitting there. And about 59 of them get resolved right then. And you have to sit there in a room and break off and go sit at a table from each other and try and work it out. If you can't, then you set a court date in front of a judge. And about 95% of them get solved that day. Can you imagine if all those had to go through court? Oh my gosh. I mean, anyway, so there, yeah, you agree to it. And matter of fact, I said, look, if your clients want to fight it, just punt that back to the attorney. Well, actually, thank you for the information, but if you had read section 38.1, you'd see you can't be included.
Right.
Have your clients feel free to do whatever they got to do. But they're not getting legal fees. So a lot of times lawyers threaten to try and get what they want, right? He wrote this letter to thump his chest and get him to write a check. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, just point out something, buyer's repair addendum. Do you need this phrase right here? Buyers removed the special petition and removed to closing. Do you need to write that? You don't need to, it's all right here. Okay? So you just read your paperwork through, it's good, and it says right here about the deadline, you have to have things negotiated, agreed to by 5 p.m. the last day of, not have something submitted to by 5 p.m. last day of, it's gotta be all done. And it says all must be done with the contractor. And it also says that, where'd it go? I lost it. I should put my glasses on, probably I can find it. repetitiveness in here, dang it.
Put your glasses
Let's see. Use of contractors, evaluation contractors. So it says on here, where does it say? It says oh, right. I just saw it before coming here.
So it's right there. The buyer checks this box, the inspection period shall automatically terminate.
Thank you, right there, it's right in front of me. Automatically terminate. Yeah, so now the inspection period is over once you accept it. So my point is, you don't need to repeat what's already in the paper. That's all, so I'm not gonna spend any more time on that. But I do wanna talk about a scenario that we worked on for an hour or so last night about regarding to agreement to occupy after closing. And I use this with permission by our agent. Okay? So here's a transaction, just run the scenario past you. Signed a transaction back in May. Original close date of June. Subsequently extended out to August 18th. That's the last contracted close date. Okay? Seller was given occupancy before closing, or buyer was given occupancy before closing. Well, it turns out during this process, we found out that she could not get her loan until her divorce decree was recorded. And that was what they were waiting until May. The husband was supposed to sign it. It's still not signed. So it pushed everything out and everything out. So you need to understand, when you get a loan and there's been a divorce involved, or going to be a divorce involved, they're going to want to see that divorce decree before they give you a loan.
Yeah.
Okay? And why? There could be material information here that affect your ability to borrow. Right? That's why. And the underwriting is going to review it to make sure. There could be child support or marital support or whatever that, okay, you have $5,000 in marital support all of a sudden. Well, you didn't tell us about that. You said it was $1,000. That changes things. Now you can't borrow. So, first of all, is this buyer technically qualified to buy right now?
No.
Not.
Absolutely not.
How would you know that though, if you were representing?
Just hear the word divorce.
Yeah.
Was that, Lauren?
How would you know, as representing the seller, if you got this offer, how would that be something you would know?
Whose responsibility is to say that?
The lender.
The buyer and the lender.
Yeah.
And if you go to the approval letter, it's not mentioned on there.
Ouch.
So the approval letter didn't have it on there. Now, a subsequent addendum to extend to the August 18th said in there, we're waiting on the divorce decree to be able to close. So it said there on an extension that was signed to the 18th. Okay?
Red flag, huge.
But we're not extended past that date.
But it wasn't disclosed at the beginning when the offer was.
But it wasn't
presented.
disclosed at the beginning. And where should you disclose that?
Right then.
Right then, that's when, but where? Where's a great place to disclose that?
Additional provisions.
You have to go back to my,
Additional.
back to offer, I'll just go down here.
Makes the offer not strong.
Oops, that's the wrong one, sorry. We want to go,
Additional.
best place to say it,
Financing is right there.
financing
there.
right here.
Mhm.
Or, not really, because the source of funds is really not. Another
Well, no,
applicable
you can go
place
additional
that's more
provisions.
appropriate would be financing provisions.
Yeah.
Just to make them aware, to say, hey, we're acknowledging, and now if I put, sometimes we'll be afraid to put something in because, well, I don't want to scare them away. That's the wrong motivation.
Yeah.
Because now that's not a contingency you can lean on. If I say in here, this transaction subject to seller's divorce decree being recorded and provided to underwriting and approved. Does it now need to be something I can get out over? It protected my buyer. May it freak out a seller? Maybe.
For sure.
It could. Now, if I said on there, delivery of, and the judge has signed on it, waiting for delivery in the next 10 days by this date, is that different than just open-ended?
Yeah.
Way different, right? You had your hand up, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so if you don't mention and you cannot close because of that, then what's gonna happen to earnest money? Will we lose it?
So I'm getting there, right? So it becomes tricky because we've also missed the close date by September, 2 months almost.
Yeah.
We're almost 2 months after the close date, and she's in the house. Well, guess what started happening this last weekend?
Yes.
They put it back on the
They
market.
put it back on the market, and now they're showing the home, what they're in there.
Yeah.
Awkward.
So there's no tenant relationship established with the early occupancy. It's very clear in that there's no, it's not a tenant relationship. Matter of fact, if you miss a payment, you have to immediately vacate. It says it right in the occupancy agreement. It clearly says no, and the law is this is an exemption in the law, the tenant law. This does not create a tenant relationship. Be very clear.
Well,
Okay?
if they miss a payment or don't pay their late fees, they as well, I don't know if you can show that in there, the seller, the owner can actually, make them vacate right away within 72 hours.
So we'll get to that here in a second. But here's another twist. So they're showing the home, and it says right in here, the agreement shall commence not more than 8 days after the date of closing scheduled of the sales agreement. The right to occupy should begin on June 30th and continue until the date of closing as defined by the sales agreement, which was when? August 18th.
Yeah.
2 months ago. If the transaction fails to close according to terms of the sale agreement, buyer agrees to vacate the promise within 60 days of following written demand by seller.
Oh, there you go.
No demand's been given.
No demand's been given.
Ouch.
Because
Sellers.
I think the seller needs the payment.
The seller is also in foreclosure and needs the payment she's making.
Yeah.
You see all the twists and turns and. Okay, so what should have happened here? What if you were on the listing side? What should you probably have done? Written notice on August 19th.
Right.
Yes. Right.
Because that starts a 60-day window.
Right.
That 60-day clock has not begun.
Oh, yeah.
And guess what they're doing? Last weekend, showing the home. What if they get an offer that's acceptable to them and they want to close in 2 weeks?
That's 60 days.
Still only
This person has occupancy for another 60 days. Do you see the conflict and the problem that's been created? By not following and maintaining this, there's not even a conversation about vacating.
Right.
The other agent hasn't even said it. We need to vacate. Hasn't even come up. And they're showing the house. But, so, I'm sorry, you had your hand up before I go.
Well, going past 90-day occupancy compounds the issue, right? Because now we're in tenancy.
Yeah, you can't go past 90 days on this. This is not to exceed 90 days occupancy, or the agreement isn't supposed to. Because now you start riding the edge of maybe there's an implied tenant relation. It starts becoming dicey, right? But she took occupancy in June. July, August, September, and so 3.5 months basically. She's had occupancy.
Well, and it
And
was
2 months after the contract terminated.
Yeah.
Do you see? Anyone else see any problems here? Are there any issues with this one? A lot.
Yeah.
So the question is, well, now what? Right? Now they're showing the home. What do we do? Well, so when we talked to the agent last night, it basically said, look, first thing, your buyer is not qualified. You know that. And I had to kind of explain that this buyer is really not qualified until they know that's been signed. The husband still has not signed it. So when can you close on this transaction? Unidentified. How can you write an offer on a home? If you were a listing agent, ever accept an offer under those conditions, we need to talk. Where it says undefined closing date, that's not looking out for your client. So if you wrote an offer saying you have to disclose that this is subject to, I don't know when it's going to get signed. And what seller is going to accept that? All right, $5 in the
$5 in the kitty.
I'm just kidding. I did the same thing earlier here.
Hey, Paul?
Yeah.
This also can be kind of I'm dealing with a lender here in the office with a guy that's going through divorce on the selling side of his home, because until that divorce decree is finalized, we don't know how much ownership he really has in the property.
That's why you can't.
Yeah.
You don't even know.
We don't know.
And there's still a negotiation about what the terms. So, are you technically qualified buyer?
No.
I have an approval letter for the amount.
Wait till you have the
Subject to or conditioned upon, right?
Right.
But when did the lender find out?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because, at some point they knew before.
Well, yeah, they knew. You would have. I mean, so is Ryan or I saw him in here. Okay. So,
well, Ryan's working one for me right now that's in this particular kind of scenario, and he's waiting until the divorce decree is final,
Underwriting's
so
gonna wanna
that
see
he
it.
can actually do his work. You can't do your work until
every
it's
time
final.
if you buy a home, guess what? A lender's going to ask you: are you co-buying or just you?
Right.
What's your marital status?
Right.
I'm married. Okay, why, and they start asking some questions. You know what I mean? We'll separate it, right? And sometimes, I mean, are you married? Filing jointly? How do you file all this? It's hard to hide. And besides that, if you hide material facts from a seller, Can you risk your deposit entirely if you hide material facts? You can.
Yeah.
Why would you hide that? Remember Kevin Ike at our training, he said, just tell me what they should know. If it's material to transaction, just say it.
Yeah.
If it risks the deal, it risks the deal. Otherwise, you risk there's other risks that play into it, right? What do I need to know as a seller and a buyer? I need to know that is subject to you receiving your divorce decree. When's it signed? It hasn't been signed yet. Well, can't take that offer.
Call me back when it is.
Yeah, write an offer when it is, right? But they should have the right to make those decisions based upon complete information. And so many times in real estate, if you're new or inexperienced, you kind of like, should I tell them that? I don't want to freak them out. It's not about freaking them out. It's about giving them the right information. Not being perceived as hiding anything. Does that make sense? And you can do it calmly. Hey, I'm just letting you know, here's the situation. Hope you accept it. Let me know. I mean, you can still do that. But if I say, yeah, here's our offer, here's our pre-approved letter, and not disclose any of that, and I get to closing and, well, we don't have the divorce decree done. And what am I going to say as a listing agent? Why didn't you tell me that? We're coming after the deposit. We've been off the home for a month now. And you should have told me that because we would have made a different decision based upon information. It's material. See the difference? And it's nothing for you to get spun. Remember, you are the calm one, right? Be the calm one, and guide people through this. And don't. The same thing happens in disclosures. I don't want to tell what people's wrong with the dry rot. Why? Get it fixed. Tell them so they can make informed decisions. You can't hide it. That's where you get. See that letter that I got from that lawyer? That's why there's something about the sidewalk that wasn't disclosed correctly. That's where that came from. So don't hide things. You don't have to over disclose. You have to freak people out. But if there's something material that could impact their decision, they should know about it. Make sense? Okay. Yeah.
What about a solution to this situation? Because a number of things occur to me is like you could do a land sales contract, you could do a lease option.
A great option is Home Partners America.
That's another one, right? Yeah, they could come in and buy it.
And actually, the agent reached out to me last night and said, would Home Partners work for this? I said, look, go to their website and see if the property is available. Yeah. And if so, now you're representing Home Partners.
Exactly.
And she can rent it from Home Partners.
Yeah.
Right? That's a great solution. If you don't know about Home Partners, and we need to go over it again, probably again. Are they coming again? No, it's Obsidian that's coming. So here's the other twist here. Liquid damages. If you don't close on time, liquid damages are $4,000. What happens to be the amount of the deposit. Down here in additional provisions, buyer agrees to release $4,000 earnest money to seller immediately and pay $2,500 per month for June upon mutual acceptance of the agreement. And then she's $25 per month rent is what she's paying. The other twist of this is she's got foster children, so the county has to approve of the house. That's a whole other layer of stuff. Foster children. Number 3, earnest money shall serve as liquid damages in case the escrow does not close. So now the buyer's trying to figure out, how can I get my money back? Is she going to get that money back?
I'm sure they released it.
Already released it. If you release money to a seller, good luck ever getting that back.
Yeah.
It's been spent.
Done deal.
You figure it's a done deal. You release early, it's just gone. So be very, very careful with that. Now, on the listing side, I love doing that. Because now you have a buyer that's serious, right? If you're going to release $4,000, pretty serious. I'll extend. You made a $4,000 deposit. We'll extend for a week for half that being your release is non-refundable.
Yeah.
You can buy an extension. You can do that.
What about the one you had in Cornelius? They released 30,000.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
30.
Oh yeah, I think I told that story to several people, but I had it was a year, maybe 2 years ago now, I had an offer written on a home I had in Cornelius. $310,000 home, they offered $300,000, and then they put $150,000 down, released immediately as non-refundable upon acceptance of the offer.
Wow.
And I'm on the listing side. I said, you need to take this.
Wow.
Just take it.
God.
I wouldn't haggle over this because if you understand that if they sale fail, you don't return that money. It's yours.
That's incredible.
So this is either an incredibly serious buyer or an absolute moron. One of the two.
Or an agent that didn't know what they were doing.
Now, if you have a client, if you're on the buy side, have a client who wants to do that, let me consult with my PB.
Yeah.
Okay? And you have to explain to them, say, look, if anything happens, if you're late by a day in closing, and the guy was in Mexico, gonna come back the day before closing, what if he had a flight go down? What if he had weather? What if he had this? And he can't make closing. All right, going to get another buyer. We'll give my money back. No, you gave it to us.
150 grand.
I guarantee you the agent did not explain it correctly. But I saw that as like, as a listing agent, like, okay, this is. So they said we want to counter. I said, are you sure? I mean, because this is not going to come along, and if they fail by an hour, that's your money to keep.
So did they close, Paul?
They closed.
Okay.
Now the reality is that's way outside of small claims.
Oh, yeah.
And if I'm the buy side and I lose 150 grand, I'm coming after somebody.
Right.
So it complicates everybody's world, right? This agent is now, better be paid, right? Because it didn't advise them. So go back to the point here. If you have a client who wants to give an exorbitant amount of money as deposit, as even a deposit at all, or certainly is non-refundable, you need to call a talker or just advise them and say, look, could be a problem. Yeah.
So I just actually had the listing, and the buyer actually did the earnest money as being released, right? They did a $7,000 early release. They were contingent, and they wanted the house so bad, and so they wanted it to be released right after mutual acceptance.
And who do you represent? Seller?
And the seller.
Awesome.
Good for your seller, bad for
Great for your seller.
buyer.
And that other agent should have probably just said, hey, we want to temper this a bit.
Yeah.
Once we hit certain benchmarks, we'll release a little bit more.
Right.
Something, right? But not just, hey, you accept my offer, I'll give you $7,000 for accepting my offer.
Well, so they were giving him 7,000.
Just to accept the offer.
Right, to accept the offer, but they expected their house to sell.
It's contingent.
And
Accept my offer, give $7,000.
Oh my God.
And I'm hoping my home closes.
Obviously, they had a good agent too. I mean, she, knew the market and everything too. So
You just need to be careful with that, because I'm telling you, if they get mad, everybody's in the crosshairs, right?
Yeah.
And so you can't just say, yeah, release it to non-refundable. You shouldn't do that as a buyer's agent. Just release it. You need to be very, very careful, because you're a little bit of a steward of their money in a sense, right? In guiding them. And you can talk about information and guidance and being the calm one and whatever. That's, what time is it, by the way? Yeah, okay. 5-2, okay, sure. So it makes sense on that? So anyway, on this one, they release it as non-refundable immediately, and it is considered liquidated damage should it not close. Did it close by the contract?
No.
August 18th was the contracted date. Is there any hope of them seeing that money? Could they go to small claims and try it? Sure. Are they going to prevail? No. She's also been in occupancy for 3 months past the close date. There's 2 months past the close date. So the unwind. So here's what this. You shouldn't find yourself in this position. And there's lessons to be learned on list side and buy side, right? So listing agent, you need to be very, very careful, because now, on the buying agent, you should be very, very careful, because now, did I say that wrong? Listing agent, the other side of this, you should be very careful, because now you expose your client to potential risk, because now there's 60 days you may not be able to close your house. Right? But if she stops paying the rent, it says in here that they give you notice you vacate immediately.
Yes,
There's no, but if you go past 90 days, you start crossing the line of, you know what I mean? So you gotta, this is a messy one, but not really for our client. It's uncomfortable, because what if they get the offer and they say, well, we need you to vacate now. We were supposed to close 60 days ago. We want you out by the 18th of this month. Guess what our response is going to be? You haven't given us written notice yet. See line 10 of the sales agreement. Can they come change the locks? Can they make her life miserable? They can. Now it could become a problem. So the advice was to the current occupant, our client, is maybe try co-partners, see if that'll work, or you might need to find somewhere else to go. Just be prepared, because something could happen here. Technically, you're entitled to 60 days if they haven't given it yet. That clock hasn't started, but just be prepared. Don't assume that it's going to be all okay. More to follow, right? So, what's the so what of occupancy conversation today? Know what you're doing. Don't just throw things in there, and don't ignore timelines. Don't ignore. And there's a lot of twists and turns of this. There is a lot of movement. It needs to be approved by Clark County. It needs a divorce decree signed with an uncooperative ex-husband. Needs this. And so you kind of have to be aware of that. And at some point, you need to make sure things are locked in contractually. They did provide extensions back in August. Nobody signed them. Sellers wouldn't sign them. So here we are. They never gave a notice to vacate. So anyway, so you need to make sure to, first of all, I personally don't like occupancy before or after closing. It just always creates a potential risk. Unless you're like a day or two because you're waiting for funds to exchange hands, something like that. But when you're a month away, or you're gonna occupancy for 60 days after closing, there's all kinds of issues with this one.
Yeah.
You learn anything from Wash, even though we're not maybe hitting on maybe certain salient points, but are you learning anything from this?
Yeah.
Hopefully, okay, good. Anything to add?
Know what you're doing.
Well, if you don't, just ask, right? But don't assume. Realtor, the bar is too, I've said this all the time, the bar is too low, right? It's too easy to run amok in real estate. We have 4 PBs on staff. For you to call and ask questions to make sure you're safe and in compliance. If you come across something you don't quite understand, just ask. Or a PB at morerealty.com. Ask a question. If we need more details, one of us will call you. And just talk it through, right? And we bounce things off each other at a time. We'll say, I don't know, what does the group say here? Or whatever. Or I'll respond, or any one of us will respond. And if we want to pile onto it and say, well, here's my perspective, we do that too. So you have this collaborative thing with the PBs. It's usually not conflicting. That's pretty rare, but at least it's clarifying, right? You had your hand up, sorry.
Occupancy before close form. That it's not used in this transaction. It should have been, right? Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's a form. The forms are there to allow it. It's just a risky thing to do. For many, many reasons, yeah.
One thing I really appreciate about your company, Paul, is when I have a question and I ping somebody or whatever on a kind of a weird time, you guys get back to us like really fast, and then it helps us because then we have that knowledge from the company that helps us and guides us through those transactions and those questions that we have, and it's quick. I mean, I've been in companies before, you ask a question and a day and a half later you get a response back. You guys are Johnny on the spot. I love it. It's great.
Thank you. We try. We're not always perfect at it, but we try. Any other questions or anything about this or anything else? Or comments or ads or anything?
What are some other common subject tos? Like, what are the most common ones? Divorce.
Close of a house is the most common subject. When my house is in escrow, I got to close it. Look, if we have 100 transactions, and 99 of them are just fine, right? They really are. So don't freak out. 99 of them, you have to close the house to buy, right?
With the exception of the divorce decree.
Once in a while, you get a twist like this, where I've got to have the home approved by the county, and I've got a divorce decree. That is someone who should go through Home Partners to buy a house.
Yeah.
Perfect candidate for that. Because once they sort it out and get the home and they get everything situated, they can turn around and buy the house. At a premium, but they can buy it. So there's a lot of contingencies and so whats, and it's kind of hard, but the most common one is I got to sell a house, or it's got in escrow, and I wait for it to close to buy. Because not everybody can carry 2 houses, right? Yes, Julie?
This is silly, but I've never had this before, but my client just saw a house on Red Bend that's listed by Berkshire Hathaway in Salem. And it's in Northwest Portland, but it's not in our RMLS, it's in the Salem thing.
But the house is in Portland?
Yeah, and I can't get a
They're
hold
trying
of
to
this
avoid the
broker.
home energy score
I found
on
his
it.
name on the
People do it all
roster.
the
In
time.
RMLS?
They put Lake Oswego
Yeah, but
zip
he's in
codes
Salem and he's using
instead of
that one.
on the
He's not
rural.
using ours, and he's not getting back to me, so I'm just curious.
That poor seller.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
no
sure,
kidding.
for sure. But I'm not concerned, I'm more concerned about my buyer and getting him in there because he's really excited.
And it's
about
probably
it.
got a Willamette Valley lockbox on it.
Okay.
Probably, likely. And that is an unfortunate situation for that seller.
Okay.
And hopefully the RMLS is just lagging behind today. I hope
Right.
that's the scenario.
Okay.
So, just can I touch on that? If that's just a bad deal for the seller. They should be in both MLSs
Yeah,
in that
for
situation. Especially if the property is located in this MLS,
Yeah.
right? I get questions from time to time, people saying, hey, do we have an agent who can open a door for me in Salem? No. Go join yourself, right? And here's why, is because you don't have right to compensation in other MLSs, unless you're a member of that MLS.
Right.
So even if you found someone in Salem to open a door for you, you have no right to compensation because you're not a member there.
You can refer it.
You can refer it. The MLS is $50 per month to be a member of.
Yeah.
If you work down there, just join it. right? And then we can open the doors yourself, and now you're a member entitled to compensation, right? We have agents here you can refer it to, but you see it sometimes where people will say, well, I just need a door open. Well, do you want to pay a split? Well, no, I don't want to do that. Well, it's not fair, right? In my opinion. Well, I'll pay him $50. Okay, maybe no one will do that. But just because someone's not willing to do that, don't be upset, right? You're asking licensed people who have paid the money to be a member somewhere else and work in a different area to do work for you for free, effectively. That's not reasonable, right? So if you want to be working in a different MLS, whether it's Northwest MLS or Core or whatever, just either refer it out or join. That way you're covered. And it's not realistic for me here to have someone go show all my homes for a 10% referral fee in Bend. Even though I'm a member there. It's not real, I'm not there, right? And that becomes a little too greedy, right? I just need to refer it over. Hey, I got a 40% referral fee at closing, they're ready to buy. I can do that. There's gonna be agents all day long willing to take that, and guess what? I'm done, I just wait for a check. Right? Instead of worrying about, so sometimes we kind of straddle that line of wanting to have other people do our work for us in other areas. We came across one, Eric had one up in where some guy in Spokane, whatever happened with that? Do you remember that guy in Spokane wrote an offer on a property? Didn't have access to forums, he's asking Eric to open the doors, and they're like, geez, I mean, and didn't even know what it pays. They can pay $200. He doesn't know, because he didn't have access to data. I don't know whatever happened with that, but it's relevant, but. So it is kind of, I did do this for a guy. I had a listing up here. He brought a buyer for a home up here. Hey, do you mind if I get a 1-day code? Sure, and I agree to pay you. And I sent him, sir, here's a code, and I agree to pay you 2.5% if you close this thing. I'll let him do that, because he had access to Aura Forms. He wrote it. I didn't do anything for him, but I put an email that I'm willing to pay him. That's my commitment to pay. But he had no access to the data. His daughter saw the sign. He was in Salem and says, do you mind? I said, no, I don't mind. Whatever. But it's a choice I get to make, and the people who work in those other MLSs get to make. You can't compel them or expect them to do something for nothing. Right? Make sense? Okay. Anything else? From anyone?
Tomorrow's our Washington agent meeting, so if you're licensed in Washington, our Vancouver office is having a meeting. We're going to announce it on Basecamp and more details to follow. But
yep.
And then what's Thursday's class?
Thursday's class.
I forgot.
Tomorrow's class is full for the Senate bill.
Hang on, just one quick announcement before you guys head off. Hang on.
Tomorrow, that class is full, so if you didn't register, we've got it full at
65 people registered for that.
So then Thursday, we have the manufactured home certification class, so be sure and register for that if you want to do manufactured homes.
Yep, and I will just tell you kind of a quick heads up. We found the ACH fix. We'll be changing from Broker Sumo to another provider. So November 1, you're going to see us changing out of Broker Sumo and using someone else. And they will offer 24-hour ACHs and actually same-day ACHs. So same-day ACH is like a $20 fee. But if you want your money that day, you can do it. As long as you process by a certain time. And more details to follow. Just want to give you a heads up. There's a lot of changes coming out that are really exciting and really fun. Just watch for more. Anything else? Thank you.
I'm sorry. What? I want to make sure that
Do you have your leads? Do you have your leads meeting now too?
Yeah. 11:30. What? The address? So the address for the Regis?
Both. I mean the meeting address.
The meeting address, same place. 4400 Northeast 77th Avenue.
So what?
Yes. Yeah, right for the mall. Yep.
Which I was wondering if I could bother you.
Yeah, I saw your email. It's a little more complicated, but I could spend 5 minutes.
I opened everything.
Yep, perfect.
Okay, 205, what exit?
I'm sorry?
What exit? 205.
It's the Van Mall exit.
Oh, Van Mall.
So it's right across the street from Vancouver Mall. Do you know where First American Title is?
I used to work.
We're right behind First American Title.
So I come in, I'll walk behind a house.
No, they have a big parking lot.
So I should pass it.
The building right behind it.
Okay, behind, so I have to pass that.
So you go So First American's on the left-hand side. You go the next street up, take a left into the parking lot. Right, so next parking lot.
Right behind it.
Yes. It's a big building. It says Regis, has Bonneville Power in it, and Core Fitness. So, so you'll find it. I mean, 4,400. And it's going to be downstairs in the lower level. So if you park in the back parking lot,
Yeah,
it's
I
right
travel a
there.
lot. I go to Hong Kong and go for a whole month.
Yeah.
But you want, I just keep it from me.
Yeah, and what would
Oh, good.
There's nothing for you to do until it's
Now they just kind of like little Armstrong in one group.
Crazy.
So I was like,
I did. I'm gonna go pick it up. I've been right now.
Really for her to say, oh, I'm not sure. But I'm glad to
She doesn't know how to,
in my own mind.
she doesn't know how to make attachments to it either.
Because I was like, you know,
Oh my gosh, I was writing this down, but I didn't and there was
What is that target?
So it's like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna double bubble for that. I was like,
Good luck. Yes.
Well, is it there? Congratulations. Oh my God. Give me a long.
I've been on newborn hangover.
Yes. Yep. So they can help through the whole process, or you give it back to Op City if it's something they like you want to work with.
I was
Yeah. I will.
but there's a paper trail that says that they're basically terminated, no one's there, so.
Yes.
But he's part of the meeting. So, but they know exactly
When you do commercial, you're really selective.
So, unfortunately, there's a glitch with the feed that we're getting from the IDX provider. And they're aware of it, they're trying to figure out why it's double punching. So it's just something they have to work through. It's been going on for about the last month. I've been delaying the second
Commercial, you need to commercialize.
Yeah. So they're working on it. It's a problem with the IDX feed and how they come in through.
Probably put, you know, what happened if you put.
Unfortunately, they disadvantage while they're posting. They post everything that hits, but they're hitting the property twice. And it's not every property too, so that's where they're like, why? It's just like every fourth or fifth one, it seems like.
You sent me that link, I think bring it up for back 14 times, so how did you
I don't know.
I think it's a routine. It's seasonal slowdown, just typical. You know, I think inventory is a little bit lighter, so I would anticipate we're going to close less because it's less inventory. You can say even less inventory than there was last year. So that I think it's an inventory problem. Interest rates are still so low, but I think buyers have a little bit of fatigue out there too. If they were on the borderline to buy, they already bought that summer. Interest rates are so low. I don't think there's a lot of new renters who are like, oh, now I can qualify for some reason. There wasn't a little catalyst that said, well, I can't qualify until X, Y, Z happens. They were qualified the whole time. So, I mean, I do see a little slowdown, but, you know, it's typical. People are still closing deals. There's still going to be a couple thousand deals a month closed in the market. So, certainly there's deals out to be had. It's just a little harder.
Yeah, right. I'm like 25 days on market with my
we are seeing listings stay on the market a little bit longer because there's less buyers out there. And sellers were a little greedy. They started off a little high.
Oh my gosh, no.
You know, especially on those higher
I hate doing this.
personally want to do that's exactly what they find it.
So most of the time I go through RPR, and then run an RPR report that pulls data from sales history, things like that. Otherwise, you can go to RMLS if you want to get more granular and do that history of, okay, here's the sales, things like that.
How would you do that on apps?
I believe so.
So I just need to.
So Windermere had their own, or they went through Moxie, or yeah, so RPR has a great report that does that in time of market. Another website I use quite a bit is Movoto, because they pull some of those statistics and make it really available in like paragraph form. So I don't know if you've ever used Movoto. It's really a listing aggregator. It's kind of like Zillow and things like that, but it really does a decent job explaining what the market conditions are year over year, lets you compare it with other things. So I use the free tools on Movoto sometimes to kind of show my client how much they're good, compare it to different cities and things like that.
Photographer that you love.
That I love. You know, I mean, depends on what you want to have it done. So obviously, Rick here in the office, the TC department uses, is inexpensive. Does a pretty good job. Otherwise, Beautiful Dominion, I think does a decent job. It's a little bit more expensive. Otherwise, I've also used Tony Long as a photographer here. He does LT photography. That's his company or whatever. He just does it. He's a licensed agent.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's right technology.
Yep. So those are the ones I've used. Obviously, if you want a little bit higher end pictures, then it's one of those things. But I love 3D home tours. I love the walkthrough videos, all that stuff. There's a lot of exposure. So.
Right. That's like my client just texted me. Okay, I'll look into this Zillow offer 3D.
Yeah. So we have a 3D camera that you can borrow through the TC department. So if you wanted to, you can go do a 3D tour. It's a Matterport tour, and it takes about 15 minutes for you to scan the house.
The instructions are there.
Yeah, there's a video on Zillow, and you have to download the Zillow app to do it, but it's fairly easy to do. Heather in the TC department is when you talk to her about it, but she can show you how to use the camera. It's fairly simple. And if the house is vacant, literally 15 minutes. I did a 3,000 square foot house in 15 minutes. It's a little tripod like this almost with the camera on top, and you hit take the picture and you have to step out of the frame within about 3 seconds, and then you go back and then you move it to the next step out. The TC department used to offer it where they would have somebody go out and do it for you. I know that it was like $100 or something.
So check with the TC department.
So Heather there would tell you a little bit more about it, but otherwise you can pay for an actual Matterport tour through like a Beautiful Dominion. But I think it's like $350, and then there's photography with that. So I mean, you can see like help section here. So if you ever need help, you can ask questions like that. There's going to be kind of a gray area. So they also have webinars, and they also have help. Okay, so the thing with this, so this page is your landing page. You have to make domains, right? So you change it to whatever you want. The domain is actually the subdomain that goes on. So see how you get .areasearch.org? You put that, you can change it to any of those. So you say, okay, get more info.org. So you click on the next one out. Yep, that's right. Now it's going to then, it's new, name that Beaverton.getmoreinfo.org will be the website. So the subdomain that goes through the same process. So let's test it. So I'm going to copy this, go to a new incognito window. But, okay, go to a new incognito window. So I want to see what that link looks like. So if I go to that link that we logged in, I want to see what it looks like. Where is Sometimes Facebook links don't work unless you're logged into Facebook. And you're also logged into yeah, but you're
Yes, it's just up the road from there. Man, about you? Yeah, I'm just going off for office work, working on some presentations.
Switching it out, so we want to extend it. So here's the challenge. You want the URL to be only the photo, not the link to the photo or anything like that. So Facebook's not going to let you do it. So you need to post those photos somewhere. So you can do it on Dropbox, you can do it a bunch of different places. And the photo needs to be somewhere that you can pull it from. Is that the same photo you have somewhere else? So give it that finish. Yes.
Yeah, man, no, I'm actually going to follow you too.
So I just created a website for you. So I didn't know that No, it's agent marketing. So it's a free website that they can create for you.
Yeah, so I don't know, is there like a fire? This picture? Okay. Where's that? I live in Silver. I was living in, what? I love it, yeah. Well, I lived in
So let's find out pictures. So that's the picture you want, right? Okay. So now we're going to change it. And then we're going to change it to this. this
I
is where you want to go.
have, well, I'm like from 3 years,
Yep.
4 months. So if you want to show these forms,
She was from here, but I said everything.
okay, that's it.
This URL.
No,
So it's right here, and you're clicking on that. It's also listed right here. You return URL.
I'm just trying.
But do you want that domain, getmoreinfo.org, or do you want areasearch.org? Okay, perfect. So this is the URL you want to share. So you go to Facebook, you go share it to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna create a post.
But some work is on
That description?
You may not, I don't know what kind of registry you have, which the sellers need to have this. So they, I mean, they may not, and that's because you have a listing contract with. So they may not.
It's pulling this info over. So we need to change this out.
It's really hard.
So we are on the squeeze page.
Well, I have another list.
Really at this point. Okay, and their name coming in too. Okay, so that's the thing, at this point, you don't have a valid.
Because he sent me that, but I haven't like seen anything that I'll change.
If you go with title, they're gonna have that information right away. If you're trying to pull it off of the MLS, it may not have.
Obviously, do whatever you want.
Well, I was checking the titles. I did order the deed off. I'll check them.
So I'm gonna change it because Facebook already cached that one. It's a real one.
But hey, everybody has one.
Well, in court, I'll check there, because the thing is, a lot of them, they do have to be deposited. But there, I was just looking, because I keep a real close eye on, like, because I was looking at bigger property. My daughter, before we'll make it work.
The first time, because it was already we started a post previously and deleted it and gone.
So just to make sure, so the last place where you got that,
So I'll cut you off though. I would recommend using a service to create a custom post rather than just your photo. Something like, I don't know, use Canva. So, I mean, use that to do whatever you want. And then use that domain for that. So, but where did you get the squeeze page from? Right here? By clicking on this, this is the URL to share.
correct.
So, hopefully that helps.
Yes, it does. I just didn't know where to get the last,
The URL. Yep.
okay, perfect, thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah. But it's only water.
that's a thing.
And no space for them. They don't have restrictions on their space.
It's like, it's too like,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
so you go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you go from the city, so I think I like doing this stuff. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
It's
probably
like a
depends on how many, yeah, exactly.
But still, like, and it, but it's not that, it's not like a yeah, but it's still like, it's still mild and deep, it's not even like a mountain.
Yeah, it's very, upbeat, up and coming, I think, more than that, it kind of down there for a while, but now it's more, it's more
You know Mark? He's crazy.
Yeah, he is crazy. But I was in the whole first season of Grand Feature Lecture.
Oh, cool. Nice.
And I never worked on it for a year. See, I started doing the composition class in 2007. And so, you know, you have to get those hours. So I was there at the crime scenes taking minutes in the precinct. So I was on out in the field and in the precinct. So yeah, I did that for a while. Oh yeah, you can, but if they say what you do, this season's it was an experience, but so well, I do.
How's it going, Chris?
December.
So,
Awesome. So once in a while, yeah. Sorry to interrupt. No, it's, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, and commercial, yeah, it was on Facebook, but it's.
Your mom?
Mothballs?
Malt.
I said mothballs?
So, that's mothballs.
Yeah, it's a lot, most of the people that were contract, except for some, now kids use them most of this because they ended up.
And Melissa, you just had a house pop up.
It's all good.
Biggest feature did you read? Season 2, episode 9.
What was his name?
No, it was not the person, but the house.
The house?
Yeah, it was in the
Yeah.
notes.
There was a lot, well, and the house that they did a lot of the filming in for the older guy, what was his name? Because I haven't watched him forever. There's a few of the actors that actually bought houses as well.
Oh, yeah.
And they stayed here. Yeah, they never went back to LA and they're just working here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said it was featured in season 2, episode 9. They had a little 80 in the back and it looked all creepy. I'm like, maybe that's what they were filming in.
Do you think it's gonna sell because of that?
I don't know, maybe. But I got a buddy who's been an extra in that, just a background construction.
Yeah.
They actually filmed a lot of stuff at Good Sam Hospital. Friends in Good Sam.
And they did a lot down in Oregon City.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, down at the old paper mill down there. I remember we did that for 4 days in a row and it was nice.
I was trying to figure out where that they were filming where they had the bridge, I can never remember the name of the bridge, the bridge downtown Portland, the 405.
Yeah.
I can never remember the name of that. But yeah, I can't find where they were filming that.
It was sneaky because, their actual headquarters were they did, basically their base camp is what they call it, was down in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Down on the other side off of Highway 30. That's where the precinct was at. They had all of these big warehouses and some of the houses that they filmed in, they actually built these little houses inside these. It was cool to see that they built it inside these buildings.
Yeah.
And so they weren't actually out there, they had to go out somewhere. And the police precinct was in those houses.
Yeah. Went to Hawaii and a couple of years ago, and we went on some little, as my daughter calls, old people tour.
Old people tour.
Yeah, so, well, it's like I can drive around and not know anything about it, or have somebody else drive me around and learn all about it. And they took us to where they filmed Hawaii 5-0, or they showed the outside of the building, but they're like, this is the outside of the building, but they filmed inside that one across the street.
Yeah,
So
and
it's
they
kind
do,
of
they'll
funny.
use things like that, and outside of this and this, but you think they're inside that.
They actually, there's an old, I don't even think it's B-rated, I think it's more like a Q-rated movie that was made back in the 80s after St. Helens blew up, and was filmed in Bend, and it was just called Down St. Helens, but they showed the outside of this one bar, the inside of a completely different place.
You could probably tell.
Yeah, oh yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, where's the tree? Because there's a giant tree that grows out.
You should have seen through that window. Oh.
Yeah, it was pretty weird. Stuff like that.
Alright, well, I guess I better go work.
Word.
Yeah, I know, right?
Speaking of work,
Nice to meet you.
I do have some work-related questions for you.
Oh,
Just gonna
geez,
kick
see,
it
I'm
off.
working now.
Okay. There's no way to add a third email here, a fourth email here, is there? The other thing is these guys are working with cash, right? And submit the offer as cash.
Yeah, but be careful with that. So, when you do your proof of funds is what it would be called for your cash. You need to make sure that before your buyer gives it to you, that they black out the account number. They need to leave their name, and on that information, that they black out their account number. That they can also, if they don't want to provide a bank statement like that, then they can go to their bank and get a letter from their bank that they have those funds available. Now, don't let it lapse too long. Get it right before you go in and write the offer, because me as a listing agent, I would come back, if that's even, 15, 20 days ago, that they provided those proof of funds and that's what is needed, I would come back and ask for an update. Because of people can spend a lot of money in big deals, you know what I mean? So, then with, basically do your earnest money, 1,000, 5,000, whatever you decide, and then down your next and cash flow and closing. Because I have one agent that was wanting to use, I'll use that as the earnest money. I'm like, no.
What, the purchase price of the house?
Yeah. No, as their earnest money, they wanted to do the long cash as their earnest money. I'm like, no, you can't do that. So, yeah, and then you just do the funds. If it's coming from an IRA or 401k or anything like that, you need to, that's their proof of funds of paying cash. You need to disclose that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they can,
Or they can get a letter, a proof of funds letter from the lender. From the bank, sorry. I try to get my clients to get that because you can go right up to the counter and you can get a letter from your bank rather than providing a bank statement that's showing all of their withdrawals because it's not easy to get one that it just shows the balance of these the bank is right.
So the proof of funds letter won't have a dollar amount on it, or just say that they have.
It should. They should ask for that. They should ask to prove how much funds that whatever you do. And so some people make that mistake. Say, for instance, you're offering $300,000 cash. Don't say they've got $500,000.
Oh yeah, it's just like a pre-approval letter. Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of people provide a bank statement that shows that they've got $500,000. Well, this house is $300,000, but they want $310 or $320.
Yeah.
And this seller's like, well, hello, you have that money.
Sure, but this is all I'm willing to pay. So
Right.
It's irrelevant to me.
Right.
Okay. So when the proof of funds letter from the bank, I've never seen one before. Cash transaction. Is it kind of written out the same way?
Basically, it's just a letter from the bank saying that they do have, that amount. Sometimes they won't put a dollar amount. Sometimes they'll just say
They
yes,
have enough to cover
they have
the
enough to
purchase
cover
price.
the purchase price. If they, tell them that it would be wise, for because me as a seller's agent, I go, well, what did they tell them? Is it the purchase price that they're offering?
Purchase price is X dollars.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so we can. It's just like it's subject to that. Subject to the approval saying they are pre-approved up to 65.
Right.
Say they have.
Yeah.
They have cash.
Alex wanted to meet you.
Oh, perfect. Hi,
I
Alex.
haven't got a chance.
Nice to meet you. Very nice
Yeah,
to meet
nice
you.
to meet you as well. Yeah. Thank you so much. I just want to kind of put a face to the name real quick. I am
Okay.
Awesome.
So are you going to be doing a listing or a purchase? Or?
I'm going to be doing a purchase.
Okay.
And then I'll have 2 listings. One of them transferred from DH Property.
Right, okay.
Just one last year. And then another one.
Okay.
I think I'll be ready.
So how familiar are you with, SkySlip at all? Are you familiar with like zip forms?
I am familiar.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure some agents aren't, aren't familiar or what have you.
No,
Do you have your own account?
Yes.
Okay, because some companies will have like a corporate account and then you go to write your offer and you have no access.
Yeah.
to
So
forms.
I verified that with them. Have zip forms, have DocuSign.
Okay. Your own account?
Yeah.
Okay.
My account. That was something I just got swiped yesterday, so I'm still trying to handle everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm just gonna wait for now. So
Okay.
hopefully that'll
Do you need any information from us or any
I think
help?
right now it's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
I've worked with these clients before.
Okay.
They just haven't transacted.
That's nice. They're like, score, time in.
Score, yes, exactly. And I haven't talked to them for a few months, so.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so I'll just.
Are you interested in using the TC? Did you talk to Denise
Yeah,
about that?
I
Okay,
already talked
perfect.
to Heather. She knows it's coming in. I just need to get familiar eventually with SkySlip and then use
Yeah,
I mean,
that might be your best right now is using TC because they, you know, they can assist you with that, they can get you through it, you don't have to stress about that with everything with
And
business
I'm
stuff too,
gonna kind of go through that, and we're gonna meet tomorrow, I believe, and kind of just go through everything.
Okay.
As I have, you know, some paperwork to get with.
Yeah, and they can give you the details of exactly what they expect and what they need from you to open up, you know, that account.
Yeah, and I just kind of had a question about marketing.
Okay.
You know, when I could get a listing put together, you know, how all those things work.
We have a lot of options, and the great thing is when you use the TC department, they will do your Craigslist, they get to give you a list of everything, they'll do your agent marketing website, they have a lot of different things, they'll do your flyer for you when you have a listing, so that's the great thing with using the TC, it's all included in that, so why not? You know, of course, if there's other marketing and advertising that you wanna do on your own, that's up to you, that's an additional, but they do have, you know, your Facebook business page, they can actually manage that for you and put all of the listings that Realty has, and then I believe for a fee that you, that's free, but then they have another one for a fee, per month that you will get the leads that come off of your Facebook business page, even if it's on someone else's listing, as well as blogs, and, you know, so you can talk, Heather's the one that does that, she's amazing at it, so I talked to her.
And there is that more has?
Yes, and so that would be through Derek, and then what you would do is you would give him all of the information, the email, and names of your clients, and it's just like a drip campaign.
That's clarity.
That's,
and
Derek does that. He actually
does this
uploads,
too?
you have to,
okay.
give him a format, you know, basically with all the list of the people, and unless they changed it, a list of people that you want that drip campaign to go to, and it will be done.
Oh yeah, Derek does, yeah.
And how about just like leads that come in for the team? Isn't there like a lead base that just comes in? He was telling me about that.
So we do have a leads program, and that would be Eric Young, and he has a different leads programs available that you can, you know, be a part of. The great thing with our leads is you don't pay for them upfront.
Okay.
You just
That's
do
what
a
I was
percentage at
thinking.
closing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
I just wanna
And
get that
that's
set up.
so amazing, because most companies will charge you for these leads. They
Yeah,
buy all these leads and then you get
exactly.
nothing.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
we don't do that.
And that's kind of nice to just be able to have something to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. All right.
And then are you familiar with our programs? You just came on
Yeah, I just came
yesterday.
on yesterday.
I know, so I haven't even had a chance to call you. What I do is I wait a few days
Okay.
because I don't want to bombard you with what
Yeah,
I have. But
absolutely.
when Derek brought you on, he sent you the list of the corporate team of who you contact for your signage, for, you know, any marketing, you know, folders or anything like that that you need, right?
Yeah. he did,
Okay,
he did.
so that would be Nikki.
Nikki.
Yes, okay.
Maybe I don't want to take up.
No, I can take you
Oh, I'm
to
good.
Nikki.
I'm
Okay,
happy.
perfect.
Thank you so much.
So I will take you to Nikki, so if you needed like folders or pens or notepads or
Yeah, that'd be great.
signs, directional signs, A-frames, she's the one to talk to.
I kind of need this.
What, can you remind me what a flyer site and, it's just.
At closing.
Yeah, right. And then the $100 source in that?
Yep.
Awesome. You could have your rates posted up here too.
Do you wanna find some time to do that for me? I thought that I'm not time. I got a document, printed, probably laminated.
I have a laminator,
There you go.
but I also have a 74-year-old mother-in-law.
So, do you have a care for your mom?
She's been here for that long time.
From the East Coast? She goes?
Yeah, they retired in Texas.
What states are New England?
Like Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Maine.
Yeah.
Like the whole top,
Yeah.
like the whole chunk of thing.
Yeah.
The 13 colonies.
Well, the 13 colonies make up.
I might have just invented that, but that could be accurate. But it's that whole chunk.
I'll believe it.
I'm gonna
You sound
research
confident.
that. I know, it's because we hear full of S all the time.
That's like Derek will make you believe anything. It's not like I know now that he does, so it is just hilarious, like watching him.
I lived in Central Oregon for about 10 years, and my sister came up to visit. Oh no, it wasn't when my sister came up to visit. She'd already been to Oregon, and I went back for a wedding back in 2008.
Yeah.
A friend of mine from Central Oregon. And we stayed with my sister for a couple of days. She was at the airport, so it was all this stuff. It was, oh yeah. Well, it's actually okay, like, part of the state. Yeah, well, you just or stay there, so it's so expensive to like just meet, you know, even if you're just leaving out of town.
Yeah.
It's just getting crazy. And then convinced her that we couldn't pronounce sushi. Never heard of it before. I actually was talking to the guy at the grocery store. He said, "Is that provolone cheese?" Yeah, wow, we can't get that for you. You remember the shipping?
I love it. Derek
Just really quickly. Oh, it's fun. She just wanted to know, has current
so quick with it that it's so believable.
I did that to my wife. We were driving down to like Texas, and we were back in the southern parts of the country. You have those big white rollers that are on the wheels.
Yeah.
You see those? She's like, yeah. I'm like, those are foam buckets. She's like, what's a foam bucket? She's like, I'm not really sure what's in them, but you know, that's a lot of farms have a foam bucket. They're just building it, yeah.
That's so fun.
Foam bucket. That's the first thing that popped in my head, and I was like, thought she was just gonna go, you're such a she's like, wow. What do they do?
I used to with Derek, and I'm like, all right. I love it.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, hi Anna. My name's Robert. I missed a call from Kelly. She said she had sent me over an estimate to make a Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Oh, 310-801-6116. Thank you. Wendy, how's the OC? Good. The original OC. What?
You're a problem, man.
Actually, I haven't been watching like any TV recently. I haven't been watching any TV recently. Feels good.
Hello, you guys driving? Oh my gosh. And there's probably no way out. Are you? Oh. Oh God, I can just see Shirley getting tackled on the freeway. You can't go up there, lady. Yes. Yes. Now are you hauling anything? Your RV's at your house, so you're just in a car. Okay. Yeah, right. Oh. That's okay. That's okay, that is annoying. Okay, well, so you guys talked about making all offer? Yes, yes, the shipping container and the tractor. Yeah. No, I did. So, yes. So, I know when they first met you, this is the problem with our meeting, is their first reaction is just like, oh my god, love the place, we're paying full price, blah, blah. Well, then they go home and they're like, wow, then we'll meet this, and then we'll meet that, and then, and that's basically what has happened, and that's why they threw the tractor in. So, yeah, so, you can't say, well, you said this, so that's how it is. I mean, it's like, well, sorry, we went home and we thought about it, and, we were so excited, that came out of my mouth, kind of thing. So, yeah, so that's, they see value in the tractor too. So, yeah. Right, I know. Right. Oh, by the way, tell him great job on the dry rot on the side of the house. That I walked back there just to look at it, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and the end of the rafter too and everything. Yeah. So that's what they are. So she's like, well, it's so much of a see that they're thinking it's the office. It's funny. It's the same with the offices. Like they're like, it's such a bigger house. I mean, we kind of we want to ask for maybe some of their stuff, your furniture. And I said, yeah. And they want to see the inside of Kevin's place. But I didn't know how much you needed to give 24 hours, or can you see if 4 o'clock today is okay? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And if not, same time tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And so they're fine letting go of that first shipping container, that big 20-footer. Yeah, and so I said, George is looking at it like he's looking at 3-car garage tool 1. And I said, so we wanted to know, I said, I want to ask you before I write this up, if you're willing, I talked directly to Forrest. I said, Forrest, the other night you were like, do not give away my shipping containers, they're my shipping containers. He goes, oh no, I was just taking rightful ownership of them. He goes, the one shipping container can go with the house. He goes, I understand the 1-car garage is blah, blah, blah. So I went, okay, good. So I got that clear. And he understands, Forrest is real casual to talk to, and he goes along with anything. But then when you put it on paper, he's like, I want this, this, this. It's like, he's a little bit of a split personality. I've seen it a couple times now. Oh. You are so excited. Oh, I have an idea. Coming home from Sandy and Cascade ride 2 years ago. Same thing on, what is that coming out of Sisters 22? And I had to turn down towards Sweet Home and come, it was a 5-hour drive home instead of 2.5. Oh.
Yep. Heather worked with one of them for a while. Took them on the hey, they come eventually, right?
Oh, God, Shirley.
Ugh.
My hair is warm. See you light at the end of the tunnel.
No, I don't. I'm gonna cut it and trim it.
Oh, yeah.
No.
orders start barreling through. It's so funny. I love it. Oh, you're so Yeah, I'm just taking, on the counter, I have it written up to take the trucker out. Yeah. Well, 'cause, I said that, the problem is Aaron, I said this is a typical problem when buyers and sellers meet each other, is things come out of their mouth, and then they go away and they think, right? And so, he goes, oh, yeah, I'm willing to pay the full asking price, blah, 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 this, blah, blah. Well, they walk away and they're like, well, it's a big property, we never had a big property, we need this, we need that, we need this, oh my gosh, right? And things start overwhelming them. And that's why they look at the tractor. And they see value in it. Yeah, they see value in it as well. So,
Perfect. I actually thought about that too, and I was like, really, that's a whole bunch of money.
well, I know, but George realized, then they walk away and they realize how much money everything's costing and everything else, and they have second thoughts, and they have, and it's overwhelming, and that's what I'm saying, is don't hang on to what they said initially.
We're not happy.
Because it was in excitement that the house is still available and came back off the market after came back on the market after 10 days. She's like, oh my God, it's back on the market. And, she's been watching it online. And that was, then they go home and talk and look at things on Craigslist and how much things cost. And how they have to furnish a much bigger house and blah, blah, blah. And it's now, now you can see where they are. So,
I won't sleep with your dog. I really don't want to sleep with me because I really
Yeah. When it's like the 9 months straight of gray, that's when it becomes a little much.
Yeah, so here's what I did.
So what do you do here?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm looking for properties to flip, so if you come across any big properties, situation where it's way higher, whatever.
What price range are you about then, right?
I mean,
about
3 hours.
usually around 3, all that, hard to work, to probably buy, yeah, that range. Yeah, I've done that for a while.
Well, 24 years ago, I used to do over with 2 or 3 months. And used to have to go and do wet signatures. Go to the airport, mail. Next to the Liverpool, right there. You have to do literally 24 hours all the way. It's not that way. There's all the people.
So you have to set up a profile.
Well, yeah. But you don't technically have to set up a profile.
Yeah, and the container, and the I talked directly to Forrest to make sure, because he's well, you were very honest, and I did not go anywhere, and yet, and yet, I think that it said.
So I need to talk to Ryan, like, I remember before, and I was like, there's only like one, the whole corner street, like one office.
But even the old question is that it's price.
Even though they consider market value on them or way under what market, even if there hasn't been work done.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, some are even FHA insured, so meaning that they have a reserve for electric or whatever. So they already have that money in place with, including your offer. So, I know that, believe it or not, there's a house in John Davis to rent for two bedroom.
Well, I don't know, I was kind of thinking 470 and maybe he feels that the value is not going through the houses and shit.
I usually spend money in
They're owned by the government, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. And so, a lot of them will be cash conventional and FHA. And before.
No, I have not talked about what you're
down to the worst
at all.
category, which would be an FHA H rehab. So you got 4 categories.
Oh, no, I haven't, but you know, she's getting more and more buried as it's closer to Friday, so she'll be feeling it by the time I do talk about it.
So they've
You know what I
already
mean?
went
I mean,
through
she's
that
working
process.
right now, and she works tomorrow, and she's got a birthday party with her family for her 1-year-old Friday.
Get the appraisal.
And she's getting the house ready.
You ever have to do for an appraisal? No, anyway.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll check that out.
That's what I'm saying, I'm like,
For the
she'll
advice,
feel the
huh?
benefit in a couple days of not, going on the market.
Do you come across
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that's a cool card.
Sounds good, okay. 4.
That's a really cool card.
Oh, that's my dad's an architect. That's his house.
Oh, really? Oh, geez. It's all in the family. Oh. Is he still in the biz?
Yeah, he was.
Oh,
He does like all kind of that style.
Yeah, and I don't know, they know they're thinking on their own, because I said.
Everyone's got big glass sliding doors. Probably cost like $10,000. Half the view for that.
All the money we make consuming people, we should get all that.
Well, nice meeting you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
will.
Buy something to appreciate it.
Be behind me. That's a good show.
Oh. Well, yeah, I just suggested it to you. Yeah, you'll need a longer inspection period. Yeah, but it gives you 2 months in your house, so you have plenty of time to get home and have an inspection period, get things appraised and everything closed. Oh, not long. No, you can't, is this a cash offer based on condition of the sale of your property? Okay. No, theirs is a loan based on the sale of their property, because they're only gonna make enough for a unit on your house, but you're making enough to pay cash for their house. You, right? Okay. And are you guys sure about that with capital gains and everything else?
Hello.
Excellent.
Yeah, good comment. Didn't say you social future.
Yeah, after 500,
You
after
spend like
500,000.
30 years. What are you talking about?
Oh, that's.
30 years expired.
500,000. anything over that. But I do think you guys, there may be something, we should talk to the CPA about transferring. There may be a one time in your life, after age 60 that you can just do something to benefit you that way. And I'm not sure, I can't think of it right now. I need to talk to Right, because you've been in the same house. You take that out of it. It's like, what am I in for?
We'll work on it, we'll bring them down.
That all gets taken out of it. No, it's your net, it's basically your net. And so it would be your net proceeds minus what it costs you to build the house, buy the land, build the shop, build the RV garage.
This Thanksgiving weekend.
Not, it doesn't
They're
include
gonna pick him up,
It
take
doesn't
him to the
include.
airport, have him go to New Jersey. He'll be opening a store in New Jersey. Chick-fil-A. Yeah, Chick-fil-A is,
Okay, I think you're good.
they
I think
average
you're
$5
good.
million net.
Because we're talking about
per
an
store
excess of.
per
Wait,
year.
he's opening a Chick-fil-A?
No, they're in a management role.
Yeah.
They're gonna have him go and open the
$500,000 a year
store.
free.
Oh, okay.
And, but they want him to own at least.
That's for a couple, no,
So
it's for
it's $10
couples,
million a year
$250 per
net
person.
every year.
It's a federal law.
That's what they net.
Yeah, the Clackamas one?
Yeah.
They're earmarked to net